Hi, this is Jeremy.
And this is Becky. We're kind of epic.
Today, we're talking about Vanishing Realms.
This one's an episodic dungeon crawler. Kind of like, I compare it to old Final Fantasy or Zelda games like in Nintendo days.
Even, I like to compare it to Myst, even though you're actually moving about, where Myst was a more, here's the scene, and click to the next scene. But it has the same feel to me, even though it's not, where Myst wasn't moving around. It was just pretty pre-rendered pictures. It gives me the same feel.
Yeah, I like this game a lot. It's probably one of my favorites that I've played so far. Mm-hmm. It's a little cartoony when you're looking at it from this side, from the non-VR side. And it is cartoony when you're in it, except for it doesn't matter. Those guys are still pretty scary because they're big. They're like 5-6 feet tall. The archers are smaller, but they're still pretty big. And they come at you with his face. This like angry face.
Yeah.
This is pretty far in. It's after we've already been playing a while. You've gotten other weapons, and right now it's a wand. This is the inventory system that you're looking at here, and it's supposed to be like a belt. You look down at it, but it's kind of feels like you have to look down too far, like you almost have to bend to look at it because it's supposed to be on your waist. It feels more like it's in the middle of you.
It's trying to stay out of your way while you're in combat, moving around and looking around, but it's just a little cumbersome because you look down and if you don't have the headset on tight enough, it kind of lifts off your face a little bit, so it gets blurry, and so you're trying to look down and you have to push the thing down on your head so you can see the numbers in your inventory and what you're trying to grab. So it's a little cumbersome. I think that could have been done a little better.
It also kind of shifts around. Like if you're looking down at it and you move a little bit, it moves, and so you reach for something and it will move out of your reach, and that can be a little frustrating too, especially when you're in the middle of a fight and you're trying to hurry up and switch weapons.
Right. Yeah, I think it's tracking your head maybe, and so when you look a little bit too far to the right, it'll suddenly shift to your right a bunch, and now you're looking at the center again, and you're like, wait, I wanted to look at the bag, not my health. So maybe pressing a button or something to bring up a menu or your inventory would be better. I mean, I
just killed myself. So that weapon that I'm playing with right there, sorry, didn't mean to interrupt you. It's a wand and it blows up, and I was trying to see if I could explode these stones here because they're holding money and gems and mana, and you break them with a hammer. But I was kind of hoping I could just blow them up, and instead I blew myself up. So that was interesting. Yeah,
the wand does have a blast radius, so watch out for that.
So you look inside, you break pretty much anything you can break. Just like that's one of the reasons I compare it to old Final Fantasy games, because I used to break everybody's stuff to get stuff, and you break the rocks, you break vases, all kinds of stuff. Look underneath and in things to try and find more treasure. Mm-hmm. And
that was I think one of the things I really enjoyed was walking into a room and there's some barrels and some crates and stuff, and you don't really think about it in most games because you just walk around and click until you find something. But here you actually have to kind of look underneath or into a barrel that's got its lid open, and hey, there's actually some treasure in here. Cool. And you can reach into the barrel and pick the treasure up.
Yeah, that was really fun. Like there's actually something around the back of this building. I don't know if this is the part where I found that, but there is. And I don't think I found it the first time.
Right.
And you get these clues, these scrolls that you have to find throughout to try and figure out where to go next. And they're not very well done because they're a little vague. And you read them and you know it's a clue, but pretty much, at least me and I think Jeremy too, pretty much as soon as you read them, they leave your brain because they're vague enough that you don't really keep in your mind what the clue is.
Yeah, I think typically most games, if you get a clue, it'll be for something in that room or that area where you are. And so you can say, oh, well, it's talking about a tree, and I need to look under a tree maybe, and so you start looking around and try to find this thing under the tree. Turns out the tree that it's talking about is in an area two areas away. And so by the time I got there, I was like, oh, this must be the tree it was talking about in that thing way back there. Where most games, like I said, it'll tell you in the area you're in, or it'll have a note system where you can look back at the notes and say, oh yeah, that note said something about a tree, and let me look around in this area. And I think this one that we just looked at, I still don't know what that one was referring to.
Yeah, I think I went back to read it again to try and figure out if there was anything that I had seen that it could be relating to, but I didn't.
Yeah.
You do get new weapons. You can buy with your money. You can buy new weapons. I didn't find there to be any difference between the two different bows that you can have. They didn't seem to do any. I
think there were 2 swords.
There's 3 swords,
three
right?
3 swords. 2 of them seemed to be kind of the same. The third one did more damage, and that was great. But the other 2, I didn't really feel like there was a difference between them.
It was worth paying for them.
Right.
Yeah, because they just did the same amount of damage. So I think that needs a little bit of tweaking. Yeah. I did like the mana system. It was gems that gave you mana. I didn't feel like it explained that very well, so I used up all of the mana in that wand really, really quickly.
Yeah.
The first time, and it took me a couple. I mean, maybe it's just something you should know, but I didn't catch right away.
Right, because again, the mana is down on your belt, and so you have to look down to see it, and you're firing your wand. And I did notice eventually, you can see here she has 10 on the wand, and I think that's 10 more uses left.
I think that's when I realized that I was using up my mana, because it's in your belt, which you're not looking at all the time.
Right.
And I just damaged myself again because I was trying to shoot the door because I thought maybe it needed I think it says something about fire. No. Yeah, show me a wand. So I thought that I was supposed to shoot it with the wand.
Yeah,
but apparently you just had to show it, lift it up. Yeah, that's right. You just held it up or pointed it at it.
Yeah. So, yeah, again, not super intuitive, but eventually you figure it out. And I don't think there's anything we've run into that's been, too difficult to figure out or understand, to get around.
Yeah, and actually the movement was super intuitive. I really thought that it was really well done the way you move in this game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so you point to where you want to go, and you can only go so far. It won't let you skip ahead too far, which makes it feel much more like walking.
Right. Yeah, I think you'd think teleporting would be kind of cheating or feel like unnatural, but I agree. The way that they did it, only allowing you to teleport, maybe 8 or 10 feet ahead, does make it feel like you're walking instead of porting around. So that's nice.
Yeah. So this is the final. We kind of skipped some of it. We don't want to show you the whole game. This is the final set of the waves of bad guys. And this is probably my 3rd try because I kept dying. And this is hard because you're mostly playing with the sword because the mana runs out on the wand, or this would be too easy. Speaking of the fighting style and it being easy, Jeremy felt...
Yeah, I thought the combat, at first you're learning how to fight, and it felt good, but I didn't feel like the difficulty ramped up. I don't know. Maybe
enough to...
not enough. It did, because this is really difficult. This last fight, or series of fights, was very difficult, but everything up until then felt about the same. It got a little bit harder, but then all of a sudden it was this really difficult fight that you had to do. You know what I mean? It didn't ramp up in stages. I didn't think. It felt like it was kind of easy, and then a little harder, and then really hard.
So it didn't build up towards the difficulty of things, because the end really is very difficult.
Yeah.
And I felt like it was not too easy at all in the beginning of the game, in the early parts of the game up until this point. I felt like it was building up at a nice pace for me. Because I'm learning even how to play in VR. So it's not just learning a new game. It's learning how you even play in VR, because it's all so new to me. and to us.
Right.
So I felt like it built up really well until this point, and then I do agree it gets too hard because you only get to die once throughout this wave.
You get one retry.
You get one retry, and then you're dead, and you have to start over from the very beginning. And this is a lot of exercise. By the time you're done with these 9 rounds, you are sweating. At least I am, and I don't really sweat usually. So I was sweating and out of breath, and like this is exercise, and it's the first time. Oh, let's talk about this. So what you just saw was autopause. That meant I got too far from the middle of the room, and not even to the grids, just too far from the middle of the space. And then it autopauses on you, which sucks because it breaks your flow and it just messes up. Though it's part of the reason I had such a hard time with this final bit.
Right.
Is because the autopause.
Yeah, let's see, it really
doesn't reset. So you can set it. You can set it during the game when you get to that point to quit autopausing. But it doesn't save that setting. So the next time I play this game, I totally forget about autopause because I turned it off the last time. Right. But you have to turn it off again each time you play or it happens. And it's super frustrating because it's not even when you've gotten to grid lines. It's before then. So it's really hard to tell it's coming. And that's the thing that I think is the worst thing about this game. Right. Is the autopause.
And it usually happens in the middle of combat. And so you're like, because you're moving around, dodging these guys and trying to hit them. And then all of a sudden it just pauses and you're like, oh, now I have to go back and, okay, I got to get ready to fight these guys. Turn that back off. Okay, go back in, and then, you're back into fighting. So it's really jarring, and one of the things that really bothered me. The other little things are pretty minor issues that we had, I think, but this one was definitely one that kind of drove us crazy.
Sorry, I was laughing because I have trouble remembering which hand I'm supposed to grab the bow with because I'm right-handed, so I keep trying to grab it with my right hand, and then I want to move it to my left hand, and you can't do that. You have to grab it with your left hand. Right. So it slowed me down a few times. And I just ran out of time there, didn't I?
I think so.
So I lost. That was my one chance to die or lose without having to start all the way over.
Yeah, I think if this part was not time-based, it would be better. Or maybe if you had a little bit more time, because I felt like it ramped up the difficulty too much, too fast. So it was
especially being time-based.
Yeah.
Because you didn't even have time to grab, if I had tried to grab the loot that the guys drop and keep fighting these guys, I ran out of time. Right. And that happened to me multiple times. So I quit trying to grab anything but mana because I wanted mana for some of the later fights to be able to use the wand to fight some of these giant guys that come up. So it slowed me down, and I did run out of time quite a few. That's part of the reason why I didn't. It took me 5 tries to get through these waves.
Yep. But I think, overall, the combat's pretty good. The storyline, well, there's not much of a story, I guess, but the presentation overall is pretty good. There's just minor things that could be tweaked to make it better.
But overall, I think this is a great game. It was really fun. It was super engaging. It was a little exhausting, but that's good too because we're up and we're moving, and I actually really enjoy that about the VR games. More so than ever, even the Move or the Kinect was, where it tried to get you up moving. I enjoyed those too, but this is just, it's so much more interactive, and you really get such a sense of presence that it's so hard to describe to somebody who hasn't done it before. The sense of presence is amazing. And I just really enjoyed the colors in this game. Some of it was really very pretty. I think that, I hope that it learns from feedback on the game.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I think that the ramp up should have been
a little more consistent.
Yeah. I do agree. I didn't agree with Jeremy the first time we talked about that because I thought that the ramp up until this point was pretty good. But I'm a little bit I haven't played as much I played video games lots, but not as much as Jeremy has. So that type of learning curve, especially for a new game, because this is so new. So for a new system entirely, I thought the ramp up was really good in the early parts of this game, because I thought it should go slower. Maybe not in the future, but now when we're all even still learning how this works, I mean, they haven't even standardized how you move yet.
Right. Yeah, I guess it's like if you look back at, you know, the original Doom, you're using the keyboard to move around and look, and now, you know, we've got our first-person shooters that have got a pretty good system of movement and aiming and fighting, and so I think you're right. I think it will, over time, it'll get more intuitive and have a better system. And this being one of the first games to do combat in first person in VR, it does a pretty good job.
Yeah, it really does, and it's enjoyable. I mean, I can't wait for the next episode of this. This game was thoroughly enjoyable. I really liked it. I think it's gonna be. I think it'll probably, if they keep improving on it, I think it'll probably could be a really good franchise, actually.
Yeah,
because it really is a really good time, and it really is very well done. And these guys, they're scarier than they look on the screen. They're pretty. I was breathing pretty heavy at this point. I was sweating. I was breathing heavy. I was pissed off at these guys because they were throwing fire at me, and they were healing the guys I was shooting. So I was actually angry. And then that's an interesting thing to talk about too. Is that when you're fighting these guys, it's when you kill them, the sense of, oh, I just killed them, like, I rock, is so different.
Right.
Like, you don't get that at all when you're playing video games with a handheld controller and you're not in the world.
I just pushed some buttons and killed a guy. No, it's like, I fought this monster with my hands and I beat him.
And it gives you just such a sense of, like, hoorah! Yeah, like it's really amazing. I think I even made that noise a couple times. Yeah. I was like, yeah, I killed it. And you just don't get that. And this guy was hard.
Well,
not this time. But like I said, this is like my 5th time through. I knew where he was coming from. I went up and I was like, I'm not even giving you a chance to get out of there. And that was how I beat him. I didn't let him come out of his little cubby to get some space to really swing his big mace thing.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it really isn't a much different feeling when you kill a monster in VR than when you kill them with your controller or your keyboard.
Right.
Such a sense of power. It's the only way I can even describe it.
Yes. So overall, how do you feel about this? Do you think?
I think this is an excellent game. I cannot wait for the next one. I think it's really good. I think it might set some standards.
Absolutely.
For VR and in combat, and I think that, like I think I said before, the inventory system really needs some work. I think that's probably the thing that needs the most work in this game.
But otherwise, yeah, it's overall very enjoyable. I think we both finished it, the first episode, and really enjoyed it. And I would highly recommend playing it. It's definitely worth the price, which I think is like $25 or something for the first episode. Definitely a must play for VR.
Yeah, definitely a must play. I think everybody should play this. It's just so much fun, and it gives you such a good idea of where we can go with VR.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's see, any last thoughts? Or
no, we probably should not show them the very end, though I don't think it does much after you fight these guys.
Yeah, no, I think after this there's a little more, but we'll definitely not spoil it.
Yeah. So nope, I think that's it, and we'll say goodbye.
Yeah, thanks for listening. If you like the video, hit the like button, and feel free to subscribe if you want to see more videos from us. And we'll catch you on the next one.
Bye.
Bye.